parish for 11 years. He was a very big influence on me. Gee, you know it. He is my confirmation sponsor, and also two of my brother's confirmation sponsors, so. Unfortunately. No, but please help me welcome Father Amberger.
So, just to give you some of you already know, we're doing videos. So, for some of you who don't know me, just give you a thumbnail sketch. That's terribly important, but just to give you some context. So, I grew up in Cincinnati. Let's see, I was ordained in 1996. My first parish was where, as an associate, it was just down the road a little bit, Coldwater. I was there for 3 years. And then I was transferred to St. Henry's in Dayton for 2 years. And then I was kicked out by the incoming pastor. That's another story. I eventually got arrested. So there is some color to that story, but I don't think we're going to get into that. So I was kicked out after 2 years, and I was sent down to Cincinnati. So I was at St. Martin Tours on the west side of Cincinnati. Does anybody have any? I guess the school out in Cincinnati. So I won't go into my west side stories. So I was there for 2 years, and then I was told that I should look at a parish to become the pastor of, and I should put my name in. And they actually had proposed, during the meeting, they called me and they said, "Are you willing to go to parish acts?" I said, "No." I said, "No." They said, "Why not?" I said, "I was told by one of the priests there that I had to fire the entire staff, and I don't want to walk into something like that." So they kind of took that into consideration, and they said they called me back and they said that they'd be sent to St. Mary's. So that's where I ended up. I was very glad to be there, and as Adam said, I was there for 11 years, and then I was transferred down the road, so to speak, to Williams in Sydney. And that's where I went for the last 6 years. So, all right, so I was asked to talk about it, and I do better with audience participation. And some of you know that Jake had said, "Well, how long do you want to talk?" I said, "I can talk as long as you want to." Some of you are nodding your heads. So if you kind of give me some feedback and direct me, because spiritual warfare is a big topic, and I don't want to get bogged down in an area that you're like, "This is talk like this." So with some feedback, some interaction, some, hey, point of reference, you can interrupt me, sort of direct me to something not radically different, but something along the lines that maybe is interesting to you, or if there is some, because spiritual warfare covers like almost everything in some respects. So in some respects, everything is on the table to a certain degree, topic-wise. So, but if we look at spiritual warfare, there was a recent study done within the last couple of years that shows that, hey, Greg, studies, you get a group and then extrapolate your findings on everybody else. But so it's going to be somewhat maybe different, according to where you are maybe in the church. But most Catholics do not believe in the reality of Satan as a personal entity. They might believe in evil in a very generic sense. But I think it was only, according to this study, only somewhere around 17% of Catholics believe in the reality of Satan. Now, I'm hoping that you are the flip side of that. I'm assuming that all of you are. That the reality, and not that spiritual warfare is all about this, but when we kind of talk about spiritual warfare and we're talking about, well, gosh, why we even have to be in warfare? That sounds kind of negative, sounds kind of depressing. Well, the reality is there's evil. There's evil in the world, and there's evil that unfortunately tries to infiltrate into our lives. Okay, where did that evil come from? Well, it came from Satan and his legions. And I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence. If you want me to go into any sort of detail, I'm not going to insult your intelligence by kind of say, well, what is Satan? This and that, and kind of go through a sort of a description of like, okay, well, this is what happened at the this and that. But suffice to say that, and I apologize to any of the Rushi people that you're like, gosh, we've already heard this before. So, good. So I should actually, I should start asking you guys questions. I'll throw the question out, and I'll just point to the Rushi people and get all right, this is good. So, basically, and it's not a, because sometimes people are wigged out by the concept of spiritual warfare. They don't like to think about it. It sounds negative, sounds depressing, sounds whatever, God bless you. But it's something that it is a reality. We are in, life is not walking on the beach, okay? That is not what we are experiencing. And all we have to really do is look into our own lives and think, why can I not do the things that I know I should do, and why do I do the things that I know I shouldn't do, Well, part of that is the reality that we find ourselves in spiritual warfare. And this is not how God set it up. This is not, I have to be careful with this because it's very easy for us as human beings to say, well, this is God's original plan, and this was, plan B, and then this plan. But God only has one plan. Even if you're looking at Adam and Eve thinking, oh, this is bad, or this is right. Oh, wait, this is what we'll do now. That's not what God had to do. How does, I don't know, have no idea. We have to be God to understand, really, well, how can God have one plan? It's the perfect plan. But it seems like from a human perspective, we either contribute or we mess it up or we, I don't know, it's God's plan. God is perfect. So but this is not God's, I'm just going to say, original plan for us to be in the midst of this battle. It's not like God had created us not to be in this battle, okay? But, here we are. And so who are our, these are the questions going to start. I'm only going to pick on Lucy people. We all should know this. So how many enemies do we have in this battle? Now, let me preface this. Yeah, let me throw out a more difficult question. How many, we don't know how many angels were created. Okay? We use the term sometimes in our language to say, oh, there's like a gazillion people there. Was there a real number? Gazillion. No number, a gazillion. So, but a gazillion indicates, it's just a colloquial way of saying, there are just a ton of people. So the Greeks had actually a way to, so they didn't use the word gazillion, but they used the term myriads upon myriads. So we know that there are myriads upon myriads, which just means like there's a gazillion angels that God created. Does anybody know approximately? Well, we can't. This is a speculation. Might be a good speculation. How many of those angels might have rebelled? We know at least one of them did. Because, God save Lucifer. Take a stab. Now, if you say, well, it was 1.6 billion, not a number like that. More of a percentage or a fraction or something. What percentage of the angels do you think rebelled? Like 10%, 20?
2/3.
Well, and you are almost on target. It's kind of like shooting at a target and you think, I got it. You got a bullseye and you're like, dang, it was my neighbor's target. That wasn't it. So you re-scope to your next target. You're 1/3. So your instincts were correct. We're just going to slightly move you over to a different. Maybe about 1/3. And the reason we speculate is because in the book of Revelation it says the dragon, which is the image of Satan, the dragon's tail drags down 1/3 of the stars. And there is scriptural evidence that these aren't just like physical, like, are we talking like shooting stars? No, we're talking angels. Okay, we don't know that for certain, but the reason I think it's good to point out to say, if you've got like a gazillion angels, and maybe up to 1/3 of them have rebelled and are now working against us, it's a pretty impressive army. That's their whole purpose. They can't do anything to the rest of the unfallen angels, the good angels. Can't do anything. Can't touch them. Can't touch God. Okay, they don't really care about the animals or the insect life or anything like that. They're not worried about them. Okay, they're all concerned about us. Can't touch the souls that are in purgatory. Can't touch the souls in heaven. have no interest in the damned souls at this point. They're coming later. They already got them. So that maybe 1/3 of a gazillion angels, they're all focused on us, right here, right now. And in some respects, you think, I think we're outnumbered. On numerical basis, we probably are, in that sense. Unless you throw in the rest of the good angels who are on our side. They're like, wait, no, we actually have the numerical advantage as well, if we combine the two forces. This is good. So, all right, the 3 enemies. I already gave you the answer, dang it. How many enemies do we have? 3! That's amazing! See, listen up. So what are our 3 enemies? What are the 3 enemies? If we're in a battle, you gotta name your enemies. You gotta find, you gotta isolate, you gotta say, okay, there's the enemy, there's the enemy. You can't fight a battle if you're like, I don't know where the enemies are. You gotta be able to at least say, okay, these are the ones we're focused on. What are the 3 enemies?
Don't look at me.
Anybody want to take a stab? Anybody want to take a stab at one of the enemies? It could be a group effort. Who would be like, okay, I think this guy's an enemy.
Satan.
Satan, yes, Satan. He's not the only one in that group. I mean, Satan and his legions, the devil and his legions. But, it's a formidable enemy. We'll kind of come back. You know what, I can tell you the story. So, it's not really quite all but it's kind of it's a simple story, but you think, oh, wait a second, that's pretty intense. So, can God read our minds or souls? What if we don't? What if we're like, I am willing? As they say in philosophy, by a positive act of my will, which means I'm choosing that I am going to block my thoughts from God. Is that like a shield that God can't penetrate? No. God is God, so He knows everything. Can an our guardian angel, read our thoughts? That's correct. Our guardian angel cannot read our thoughts. Now, that all being said, so angels massively power in their intellect and will, much more powerful than we are. Not as powerful as God, obviously. But demons, because they're fallen angels, they have angelic power, but they can't because there's a corruption. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's a silly example, but it's like a piston, that's well lubricated. It just works. It just slides in and just, whatever, it works well. Versus a piston, or I don't even know if I'm using the right language, so sorry. At least you got the image of my mind. So, that's like, it's corroded, it's rusted. It's just not going to slide in and out of whatever it slides in and out of. It's just not going to work as well. Okay, that's kind of like the angelic powers of the demons that are now corrupted. They don't have that, but they still vastly superior to us. So there's a woman who was in a hospital, walking down the hall of, this is a rather large hospital. It had a rather, large, what do they call them now? Mental units, or psych wards. Yes, thank you. We just call them psych wards. That might be politically incorrect at this point. Wards or something like that. So she's walking down the hall, and she's not looking, she's not like trying to figure, but she just notices, so on the one side of the hall, these people over here, there is the patient's rooms, and there's a one-way glass. So if you're in the hall, you can see into the room. It makes sense because you want the staff to be able to observe and make sure that nobody's hurting themselves or somebody else or something like that. But if you're in the room, you cannot see into the hall. So, one-way glass is what we call it. So she's walking down, and she notices a woman who is sitting in one of the rooms. The woman is not looking out. So if this is the hall, the woman is not looking out. She's more looking kind of, parallel, okay? And one of the directions, I don't know. But she's not like looking out, in that sense. But so this one woman is walking in the hall, and just this patient just catches her eye, okay? And she thinks to herself, wow, that woman looks very disturbed. I she was in fact possessed by a demon. The demon within the woman made her be able to turn her head and say out loud to the woman out in the hall that nobody could see from the room, yes, and by a very powerful demon. Did that demon read that woman's walking around? Did that demon read her mind? She said nothing. She says, a thought became her. We would think yes, but actually it's impossible, metaphysically impossible. That's how powerful demons are. All the demon had, and that was actually probably pretty simple. The demons, they assess, they pick up because they have their intellect and their will is so incredibly powerful. They can, whereas us, we're like, look, I'm going to focus on the, you know, and we get distracted, we're all good. Whereas a demon can, or an angel, they can focus their entire intellectual power on one point. They can, it's like Sherlock Holmes on steroids or something. They can pick up little things here and there, and then they can speculate, they can sort of extrapolate and say, okay, well this must mean, in rapid speed, to the point where like, the demon just read in her mind. It may have seemed like that, but it didn't. Okay. That's kind of how, it's just one example of how powerful. So, and not to freak anybody out, but it's not a bad thing to kind of just say, okay, well you're in warfare. Okay, we're all in warfare. Okay, and this is not one of the things like I choose not to be in warfare. Sorry, you're alive. You're in warfare. It's just, this is it. This is where we're at. That's kind of who we're up against. It's one of the enemies. Okay? And that enemy knows us quite well. That enemy has been studying us. It knows the cracks and the crevices. Okay? It's one of the enemies. Does anybody know what the other two? Take a stab at the other two. We haven't gotten to it. Actually, we have not yet talked about enemy number one. On one hand, the devil is enemy number one because he's the only one of the three that actually is planning against us, who's proactively planning against us. But for power, he's not enemy number one, actually. It is. This is enemy number one. Okay. Why would, not me personally, for all of you, why would I be, or you, why would I be enemy number one? Why am I in the enemy? Oh my gosh, what, you know, do we not? I mean, hey, don't we want the best in everything? Like, so why would, and we kind of classically refer to this as the flesh. Is there something wrong with our body? No. Our bodies are part of our human nature, so our bodies share in that, you know, the image and likeness of God. So our bodies are good. Okay? Actually, they're very good. Okay. But, and this is that's why it's kind of called the flesh, you know. St. Paul talks about, you know, the flesh kind of being apart from the Spirit of God. You know, you think about the flesh, you know. How many of you would right now be like, you know, if there weren't a lot of people, if all of a sudden, let's see, I don't know, let's pick Shay, what's your favorite dessert?
Cheesecake?
Cheesecake. Any particular kind?
All of it.
That being a key word there, all. So, cheesecake, let's say there is like a cheesecake factory just dumped off everything here. And all of a sudden, I don't know if there is or not, but all of a sudden there's like, woo, 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 you know, it's a fire alarm. And everybody, we gotta get out, get out, get out. And Shay's down there, Shay can stay here and kind of watch to make sure, I don't know, something doesn't happen. We're all gonna be out in the parking lot. And we've absolutely, before we leave, we're like, Shay, they just dumped off, I don't even know how much cheesecake. There's just tons of cheesecake. It's all fresh. It's all, I mean, this stuff is the finest cheesecake out there. But we're going to be out in the parking lot for probably the next hour. So just, I don't know, stay down here and make sure that nothing happens down here. I know it's stupid. Just work. Now, would you be like, no, I'm not touching that cheesecake? No one has any how much cheesecake there even is. And you know we're going to be out there for a whole hour, and you know, what is our inclination? Okay, our inclination. And perfectly fine. She says, well, what? How did I get stuck? I'm just going to have a piece of cheesecake. That'd be perfectly fine. But after that first piece, be like, Now, there's about 5, there's 10 different varieties here. Well, we have to sample all of them. 90% cheesecake might be a little, but that is our, unfortunately, at least I can say about myself. I don't have much Shay, but Shay's got more soft control than me. But my inclination would be like, well, heck, nobody would even know. So I'm just going to go ahead. We have an inclination. Catechism. This is probably not one of the more popular phrases in the Catholic Catechism of the Catholic Church. But our inclination due to original sin, we have an inclination, or I'm sorry, our human nature, our fallen human nature has an inclination due to original sin to evil. So it pulls us in that direction. And so that's one of the reasons why our flesh, in that sense, why we are enemy number one. Okay. Why, put it this way, why we're an enemy. Okay. Because left to our own, it's like a car that's got really bad alignment. Okay, I'm not suggesting this, but take your hands off the wheel. Okay, if your car has really good alignment, you're on the straight road and all that, you more or less go straight. This is like take your hands off and all of a sudden you end up in the ditch. Okay, so we have a wounded human nature. It's not corrupt, but it's wounded. Okay, and we're enemy number one because we're the gatekeeper. We're the ones who say, I mean, the enemy can't do anything against us of any significance. And when I say significance, I mean of a moral sense of like, well, maybe I'll make a little discursive right now. Could we be possessed against our will? A lot of focus on, there must be gobs and gobs and gobs of TV shows now on haunted houses and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. Could we, this is a kind of a hard question, could we be possessed by a demon without our sort of giving permission? Possessions, let me give you a little possessions are not about the soul, they're just about the body. Possessions make a lot of flash. I'll give you one last clue. Somebody could be possessed in body and still be alive. So could we be possessed against our will, like if someone cursed us or something like that? Could we? Can. Now it's very rare, and I'll kind of come back to that because you're like, what you learn tonight? I don't know. Let's talk about it. So I'm not trying to figure out, but possession is not really. Well, let me just talk about it right now because I'll probably forget it. When you get old, you get more and more forgetful. So possession, there are two forms of the activity of Satan: extraordinary and ordinary. All the limelight in the media, movies, culture, all kind of comes to the